October 10th, 1943, third mission in as many days for the 100th Bomb Group, the week that eventually will be known as Black Week. On this day, the mission is to Munster, with changes to strategy and losses that'll change the 8th Air Force and 100th Bomb Group for the rest of the war. The mission to Munster comes after a devastating mission to Bremen, Germany, which cost the 100th 7 aircraft, 72 crew members, and one of their best pilots and leaders, Gail Buck Cleven. October 9th sent the group to Marienburg to target an aircraft factory and sustained 0 losses, but due to the many losses sustained in Bremen, most of the same crews are flying all of these Black Week missions back to back to back. October 10th comes with another early morning wake-up call for mission debriefing. Major John Bucky Egan has returned from London early and is going to lead this mission for the 100th Bomb Group. The briefing for this mission reveals a radical change in terms of bombing strategy for the 8th Air Force. The RAF, or Royal Air Force, has been known for its infamous nighttime area bombing raids, which have taken on such names as carpet bombing or city busting. However, the United States Army Air Force has always prided themselves on daylight precision bombing, and although the term precision is ripe for interpretation, as we know the drops were not nearly as precise as the United States had hoped, nevertheless the targets up to this point had always been military in nature: U-boat pens, aircraft factories, ball bearing plants, synthetic oil plants. So today, when the announcement is that the target was the city center of Munster, with the main aiming point being steps of a cathedral on a Sunday at 12 p.m. no less, for some it was met with resistance and moral questioning of the order. However, as the leaders told the men, not only was this war, which was an all-out fight, but the city of Munster housed many of the workers of German rail centers, as well as being a large rail city. Why a church was chosen as the main aiming point was not said. The mission was to include 307 B-17s, with 39 B-24s flying a diversion mission, and 216 P-47s providing protection for the bombers. The 3rd Bomb Division group with planes from the 94th, 95th, 96th, 385th, 388th, 390th, and 100th. Due to heavy losses at Bremen, the 100th Bomb Group is able to scrape together 18 planes and crew, along with another 2 from the 390th to make it an even 20. Making up the low position was John Brady as pilot and John Egan as command pilot for the mission. The 1st Bomb Division is putting up 139 B-17s from the 91st, 351st, and 381st. 5 of the 18 from the 100th were forced to abort over the English Channel, leaving the 100th with only 13 remaining aircraft that even reaches the European coast. Due to a navigation error, the fighters are late to the rendezvous and short on fuel and are forced to return quickly, only providing protection for the 1st Bomb Division, leaving the remaining bombers, including the 100th, unprotected again, just like previous missions.
Fighters, 12 o'clock. Must be hundreds of those bastards. Open fire, let them have it.
First-hand accounts and mission reports state hundreds, literally hundreds of German fighters were waiting to attack the bombers as they closed in on the Ruhr Valley. Rodney Snow from the 95th states, "The enemy fighters were concentrated in numbers such as we had not seen on any of my crew's 20 previous missions." Frank Murphy from the 100th states, "The fighters came on at a tremendous closing speed with complete disregard for the curtain of defensive fire from our guns. The leading edges of their wings, twinkling and glittering as they fired, exploding cannon shells, walked through our formation." In addition to the usual BF-109s, FW-190s, we hear about multiple twin-engine heavy fighters firing cannons and aerial rockets, which cause most of the damage. Planes like the Me-110, Ju-88, and Me-410. The Me-110, or Messerschmitt Bf-110, was a twin-engine heavy fighter or fighter bomber. This airplane was able to carry 2 20mm cannons and machine guns. The Ju-88, or Junkers 88, which again featured multiple machine guns and cannons, depending on the variation. The Me-410, or Messerschmitt Me-410 Hornet, was also a heavy fighter used by the Luftwaffe, which featured multiple cannons or multiple rockets, depending on the variation. This time in the air war, we read more and more about the cannon damage from fighters than their machine guns or flak from below. In Masters of the Air so far, in missions to Regensburg and Munster, this has been portrayed quite accurately, as many cannons have hit our favorite bomber boys. After only a few minutes, the 100th formation is broken in half, and German fighters continue to pick off the individual aircraft one by one. Of the 13 aircraft to make the European coast, only 6 are left as they near the IP. As the bombers near the city center, the flak intensifies and fighters begin to disperse. The flak is extremely heavy, However, the biggest issue is how accurate it is today. Due to the smoke, fire, and ground haze, many of the 1st Bomb Division group, arriving after the 3rd group, which included the 100th, diverts from the city center of Munster to target other opportunities. Bombs away from the remaining bombers, causing heavy damage to the city and cathedral, killing an estimated 700 civilians. As the bombers turned back towards home out of the flak barrages, the fighters attacked again, all the way till the Dutch border, until the P-47s could escort them the rest of the way home. The only problem for the 100th Bomb Group is that at this time only one plane remains in the air. Royal Flush, flown by Rosenthal and Pappy Lewis, limps its way home on 2 engines, with 2 crew members injured, as the only plane of the 13 to return from the mission to Munster, Germany. Over the course of the 2 missions to Bremen and Munster, the 100th Bomb Group alone has lost 19 bombers and lost 191 men. By the end of Black Week, which includes a second mission to Schweinfurt to bomb the ball bearing plants, the 8th Air Force will have lost 148 bombers and approximately 1,500 crew. As 1943 winds down, the long-held belief of the Flying Fortress being able to protect itself against the German fighters alone is finally bunked, and deep penetrating missions are suspended. By early 1944, the 8th Air Force gets a new leader, in General Jimmy Doolittle, with new fighter tactics and a new fighter aircraft with longer range able to protect the bombers deep into Germany, the P-51 Mustang. Thanks for watching Masters of the Air Insider, as we break down the stories behind the episodes of Masters of the Air.